Hello, everyone. I was just live, and well, I didn't see my live after I finished, so well, I don't know what happened there, but um, I just want to talk about something real quick. If you're staying at someone's home as a guest, do you think it's appropriate to have one of your friends come to the place where you're staying and shower at that person's house? Because, well, I don't. I don't. And I just had an incident here where that just happened, and I blew a gasket. I got very PO'd about that, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit, not at all. Uh, because if you're staying in someone's home, you're staying in their house, not you to then have a friend of yours come over and use their home for their hygiene. It's not a hotel. It's not a hotel. So yeah, that happened, and I got very, very PO'd. I didn't like that at all because it's just not something that you do. You don't do that. You know, if you stay at someone's home, you're staying, not you, and you invite your friends over so that they can utilize that person's bathroom and shower. No, let them go to a gym. Let them go to a hotel. Uh, you know, that's how I feel. But other than that, it's all trivial stuff. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're safe. I hope you're nourished. I hope you're hydrated. I didn't open with that. I usually open with that because, well, that's very important. A lot of people are not in a permanent place, and a lot of people are unhoused. You know, a lot of people are unhoused. So, um, if you're housed, have gratitude. You know, and if you're staying in someone's house, don't invite your friends over to shower. That's I would not recommend that because that can then ruin your chances of where you're currently staying. And well, like I said, that's what just happened. That's what just happened, and I got pretty heated about that. I heard the water running, and it's like, the guy that's staying here temporarily, I see him going to his car. I'm like, I know this guy's not running the water and going to his car. That's totally unacceptable. You don't run water. You don't waste water. I've always been like that. Don't waste the water. Don't waste the water. Just having respect for nature and everything. Well, especially now that water bills are going up like they're going through the freaking roof. Um, so anyhow, yeah, I turned into an ugly beast. I really did. I got very foul and very nasty. And I don't like to be foul and nasty because anybody could do that. Anybody could do that. But it's just like, listen, if someone invites you to their house or if you need a place to stay and someone says, okay, work out an agreement, that's for you. That's not for you and for someone else, one of your friends, to go to that person's house where you're staying and utilize their bathroom and shower. No, doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. But well, he got the message. It'll never happen again. Yeah. I'm very nice, but if if need be, well, in when necessary, by any means necessary, when you have to go into a different mode, you have to code switch. Well, you code switch, and well, I code switched, and I turned into a bee, a nasty bee, and that's not who I am. I'm usually very level-headed, very. I mean, I wasn't that bad, but yeah, that didn't sit right with me. Not at all. Not at all. I wonder what anyone has to say about that. Do you think it's appropriate if you're staying at someone's house as a guest to then have one of your friends come over and use their shower? Like I said, I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, um, but it won't happen again. It won't happen again. But in other breaking news, a friend of mine, a former coworker, she passed away, and I had spoke about her on a previous video a couple of months back, um, where she said she woke up in the middle of the night and some man and some woman were sitting at her dining room table and they were trying to rob her. And I became very startled about that. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I hope you call the police. I hope you called, I hope you call 911." And she was like, "No, no," and then it just didn't sound right. So I was gonna call her family, but I didn't have their phone number. I just know their names. And well, prior to her telling me that, she had fallen and she had an injury. She had hit her head. So I was thinking maybe she had like the after effect of a concussion. Maybe she had encephalitis, a hydroencephalitis, where it was causing her brain to not fully function. Plus, she was older. And even before that, I think she was suffering from signs of dementia because she would talk to me and she would continue to talk and talk and talk. And I would say, "Anne, all right, okay, maybe you could skip all that. You tell me this." And she would start to yell at me. And a couple of times I was like, "Okay, I'm going to put you in a timeout. I got a bad connection." And I would just disconnect from her. You know, but it was a sign of dementia, like what we see our president doing, like he goes over the same stuff and he talks a lot of gibberish. Well, she was speaking partial gibberish because she would just repeat the same stuff over and over again. And I would listen just because I would call her up just to like check in on her. I would call her up like once a week. "Hey, how are you? Blah, 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 blah." And then she would talk and I would put the phone down and have it on speaker and I would just go, "Yeah, uh-huh, yeah, uh-huh." Like I wasn't even listening, but I would just let her know that I was there on the other end. Just out of courtesy and just out of compassion and concern because she was by herself and her family was out in Texas. So, but she's gone now. She was sorely missed because she had a lot of people posting on her tribute wall, where she had the funeral service. And me with my dyslexia, I thought her service was today. It was yesterday. And I looked at the date. Anyway, I don't know why her family did it during the week, but it's her family. You have to respect their wishes. And I guess they did that because they just wanted to have like more of a small, intimate type of gathering because she worked for the city of New York for like 45 years. So she was the queen of benefits. And yeah, so a lot of people know her. And so that's probably why they did it. And then they had the service. It was from 9 a.m. to 11. And, during the week where, like I said, I think, well, respect their wishes, but I think that was done to just keep it small and intimate. And, I respect that. I respect that. Should I know when I go, it's going to be like, okay, one day in, one day out, here you go. Nice knowing you. Bye. And, you know, I remember years ago, like people would have funerals for like 3 days. Like what? 3-day funeral? And then I remember like as a kid, like being told to walk up to a casket and seeing someone like that was deceased laying there. Like, you talk about trauma. Like, listen, to each his own. I don't recommend having children go up to a casket when someone is deceased. I just don't think you should do that because it traumatizes you. It does. It does. And like I'll never forget that. I mean, it's like, oh my God. And I actually now I can remember the faces of loved ones that have passed on where you see them laying in a casket. It's like, holy crap. Jeez. No wonder why I have restless leg syndrome. I'm probably trying to run away from that. Oh God. But anyway, I hope everybody's okay. I hope you're having a good weekend. I hope you're safe. I hope you're nourished and hydrated. And, be careful out there. Watch yourself. Watch what you're doing. Be careful. Uh, we're living in, we're living in a dystopian, unhinged time. And those flock cameras that are out and about that are watching our every move, we're in a police state. Also, too, about those flock cameras, this is on, you know, talking about different things here. Flock cameras should be banned in any school environment setting because that is an invasion of your child's privacy. I understand security at every school to not, make sure children are safe and secure, but flock cameras do not belong in schools. They do not belong in schools. And especially with the way that things are going, people that have access to watching children is very, very disturbing. Absolutely freaking disturbing. And if I had children or grandchildren in school that there were flock cameras, no, I would I would definitely be against that. I would petition against that and definitely have them removed. Because no, it's just it's sick. It's sick. It's a very disturbing time that we're living in. It's a very disturbing time. But other than that, I don't know. Different subject matter. What does everyone think of the Donald's new wig? This is all my natural hair. That looks like, well, he looks like he's wearing his mother's hairdo. Maybe that was his goal. He was like, let me try to look like my mom. I'll have a wig replicated of my mother's hairline and hairdo. Oh God. Oh God. Horrible. Horrible. But anyway, everybody, have a great day. Stay safe, stay well, stay hydrated, do the right thing, and be careful out there. See you next time. Bye. Stay well.